Let's talk about the 8 reasons you should not move to the Philippines. Reason number one, you don't have patience. Everything moves slow here in the Philippines. It's not like the West. When you go to the grocery store, you might be waiting online for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, even if you have just a couple things. Even in the quick checkout line, you could be waiting a long time. Don't come to the Philippines if you have bad medical issues. Has some good hospitals in some of the major cities, but if you're an American or a Westerner and you're on some kind of social health care like Medicare or Medicaid, you won't be able to get that here. You can get health care coverage. I've spoke of this in the past, but chances are you're not going to get the kind of medical care that you're used to getting in the West. Medical care here could be different from north to south. It depends where you are. Of course, in Manila and Cebu, the big cities, the medical care could be top notch, but not necessarily. Then again, in the US, you could get Medicare that's not top notch if you're in West Virginia, the Dakotas. No disrespect to West Virginia. I lived there for 10 years. Some of the hospitals there are good, but some of the hospitals there are rural. That's what you're going to get here, especially where I live up here in the province. You're going to get rural hospitals. They might not have the same level of care that you'll get in a major city like Manila or Cebu. So I would say if you have major medical problems, you might want to stay right where you are. Don't come to the Philippines if you're addicted to alcohol or drugs. First off, drugs are illegal here. The last president, Duterte, had an all out war on drugs. I don't think it's as bad now. I don't know. I don't get into the drug world here. Where I live in the US, Colorado, marijuana is legal. So I'll dabble in that once in a while there. Here, you don't want to go near marijuana, it's very illegal. Alcohol is an issue. I have friends here in town. Alcohol is very cheap. You could get it at any little bodega, Surrey stores, they call them here. There's a lot of alcoholics, but I would say if you're already an alcoholic or a drug addict, you probably don't want to come here. You'll just end up living in the streets. Don't come here if you don't like noise. Every morning, the roosters are crowing. Every night, the karaoke is blasting. There's dogs barking. That's one of the biggest things, actually, is dogs barking. There's always dogs barking here. Everybody has dogs. Everybody has cats. Almost everybody has chickens, goats. The goats are relatively quiet, but if you don't like roosters crowing, I mean, every developing country you go to, there's going to be roosters crowing at starting at 4 or 5 in the morning. Here, even sometimes I could hear the church fire up on Sunday mornings. That they do their first mass at 4 o'clock. They're very used to noise here. It doesn't bother them as much. It doesn't bother me as much. I am a heavy sleeper. I could just sleep through it. But if you don't like noise, if you like your peace and quiet, even up here in the province, it's noisy. If you like your peace and quiet, don't come to the Philippines. Don't come to the Philippines without savings. Don't come to the Philippines without a savings account. You need enough money, pay for any emergency while you're here. I would say have 50,000 pesos, $1,000 cash on hand in your house. If there's a typhoon, I was in a typhoon last summer, July, it's typhoon season. All the ATMs might be out of money for a week, 2 weeks. You never know. The ATMs regularly run out of money here, but it's not really a problem because it's only for a day or two. But if there's a typhoon or something, they could run out for a couple weeks. So I would say have a savings account, keep 50,000 pesos or $1,000 cash in your house. You want that to be in pesos actually, because it's hard to spend dollars here. Even if you have I have a credit card, an international credit card I use here. a Chime account, you could use that. But if all the ATMs go down and the electricity goes out, you probably can't use that. So you definitely want to have cash. You might, a couple weeks worth of cash to buy food or whatever you need through a typhoon or any other natural disaster. There's a lot of earthquakes here, volcanic eruptions. There's a lot of natural disasters here. So make sure you have a savings account if you come here, enough to get by for quite some time, especially if you're younger. If you're like me in your 50s, you're not looking at getting Social Security anytime soon. You want to have a lot of savings. That brings me to my next point. Don't come here if you're too young to retire and you don't have an income. I have been working on online incomes and other sources of income when I move here full time. I'll talk about those in another video, but you want to have some kind of income. Like I was a teacher in a past life, so I'm teaching online English. I could also teach science online. I have a few options. So make sure you have some options to make money if you come here, or just have a lot of savings. Don't come to the Philippines if you haven't already spent time in the Philippines. You don't want to come here after spending a week or two on vacation here at the beach, at Boracay, at Palawan, because that's vacation time. It's different when you're living here. Living up here in the province, it's completely different than my first experiences here, like in Bohol and Boracay, and just hanging out at the beach. You're in vacation mode, you're spending money like crazy. Once you're here living, paying rent, life gets more normalized and you have to like that life. It's not going to be party at the beach 24/7 like when you came here for your week or two vacation. Make sure you come here and spend 3, 6 months. Before I decided I was going to move here full time, I've spent probably a year, not at once, but a year altogether here, and renting a place, living with my girlfriend, you know, living the day to day monotony. Don't come here if you're aggro. If you're an aggro guy that's complaining about everything, like if you find yourself in the US or Australia flipping everybody off on the road and yelling at them with road rage, that's not going to work here. The roads are crazy, but not only that is people get very offended here if you yell at them. It could mean your life. I'm not kidding. Like people will hire somebody to kill you if you embarrass them too much, and that's not hyperbolic either. That has happened here in the past. There's nothing worse for a Filipino than losing face. So if you're an aggro guy and you start fights all the time, you like to go to bars and get in fights, you're just going to end up dead or in jail here. So if you're impatient and aggro, don't come to the Philippines. That's all I have for today. Comment below and like and subscribe. See you next time.